Hey, what's up, guys? Got another new video here for you. This is Tuned in Sports. My name is Bryson.
I'm Bennett.
And today we've got another video in the NBA predictions video series. And in this video, we're going to be, or in this series, I guess I should say, we're going to be breaking down each of the divisions in basketball. For the three divisions for each conference, talking about each team in it, what we think, where they're at, what their potential for the season could be, and yeah. So with this series, it's all going to be coming out in 1 week, and there's going to be a video every day for a whole week straight. So there'll be a video on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and finish on a Saturday. So that's how this series is going to work. And like I said before, we are in video number 2 of this series. So you should be seeing a video having came out yesterday, as well as a video is now coming out today. And there'll be another video for you guys tomorrow. So make sure you check those out. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. The first team that we are going to talk about, and we're going to be talking about the Atlantic Division in the Eastern Conference. And the first team that we're going to be talking about is the Philadelphia 76ers. And it'll be interesting to see what's going on here with Philadelphia. We'll be getting to the Knicks in a little bit, but right now we're going to start with the Philadelphia 76ers. So, what do you think about the Sixers and the moves they made on the offseason? What is their potential for the upcoming season?
Definitely a playoff team, in my opinion. Did nothing but get better. You know, recently got Doc Rivers, traded for Seth Curry. You know, they've made a lot of moves that would suggest to me that they're going to be a championship contender, especially going forward. I mean, especially if they can keep Ben Simmons around, you know, Joel Embiid. Those are the two main guys there. And, you know, this is just another year trying to figure out if those two actually will work well together. You know, because it seems like every single season it's the same story. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid get them to the playoffs. And I mean, when Jimmy Butler was there, of course, I think they could have won a championship had Kawhi's shot not gone in. But you know, since then it's been kind of the same mess. Even before that, it's been the same story. You know, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid can get them to the playoffs, but can't get them to a championship.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that they've made some nice moves to kind of build around those guys. You know, they got Tobias Harris still there. Just traded for Seth Curry. Think that's a nice pickup. And in my opinion, they only have gotten better. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if this team comes out of the East this year. I mean, Doc Rivers is a great coach. Former Clipper coach, as well as the Celtics. You know, I only think he's going to help matters there. So, yeah, this is going to be definitely a championship contender in the Eastern Conference, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree. You know, I feel like it's kind of weird because going into after last season, you know, they fired Brett Brown. And, man, for a while there, it was just like, man, this team is in shambles. There's talks of Ben Simmons and some other people getting traded, about them just completely blowing it up. And now we're going into the season, and I'm looking at the team and the moves they've made, and I'm thinking this may be the team that comes out of the East this year. I know that they don't have Jimmy Butler anymore, but they brought in Danny Green, Seth Curry, Terrence Ferguson, Dwight Howard. I mean, it's just on top of already
just,
having guys like Kyle O'Quinn and Mike Scott, Thibault or Thibault or however you.
Matisse Thybulle.
Yeah, Thibault.
Yeah, he's a young player.
You got people like that already, and you added on Danny Green and some of these guys. I mean, I think this is going to be a pretty serious team.
And like I said, I mean, in a previous video, I was talking about how Seth Curry, I felt getting traded was a bad move for who was it that traded Seth? Oh yeah, Mavericks. I thought that was a bad move for the Mavericks. And I think that he's going to be a key player for this 76ers team for sure. I look to see how they use him. I think, arguably, I definitely think if you don't want to start Ben Simmons at point guard, fling Seth Curry in there. I think he could easily start for that team.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, I think what they can do this season is completely up for grabs. I mean, like I said, a couple weeks ago, or maybe not a couple weeks, but a couple months ago, I was thinking this team might take a serious step backwards. But now I'm starting to think like, wow, they really improved, and they really are appearing to be a team that actually wants to win. So that's really great to see, and it's great to hear too, because you see some of these teams, and you would like to see more competitive teams in the East. And so when you see talks of like Philadelphia blowing it up and things not working and stuff, you think, okay, well, there goes another team maybe that could have competed. But I really think that, there's a good chance that they could actually do something with this team. And like I said, with that being said, I'm really excited to see exactly what they do. And I think the sky is the limit for this team. In terms of making the playoffs, I think that's a guarantee. Where would I put them in the playoffs in terms of ranking? I would say I'd put them probably...
I would put
3. I'd say 3.
Okay.
Maybe 3 or 4. Maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is that really, outside of the teams that are in their division, their division is the best. I mean, I think maybe in all of basketball. Because they got basically every serious contender in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the I think it's the Pacific with like the Lakers, Clippers, Suns, Warriors. I mean, all those teams could potentially be contenders in the West. I mean, I know there's already a couple of them that already are contenders, but you look at that group of teams in the West and kind of can kind of relate them to this division in the East.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, like I said, I feel like Philadelphia, they're going to be an interesting team this year for sure. And I think the sky is the limit. I really think they could be a team that takes the Eastern Conference. I don't know if they could win it all. I think they'd be tough out. But I do think that no matter who they play, I'd pretty much give them a chance because I think they're pretty deep. And that's just the way the roster's constructed right now. I mean, if they're making a run, you might see them active at the trade deadline too.
Yep.
And so if they were to make a trade for some pieces or whatever, they could really hit it hard.
I mean, I've been hearing stuff that they might be, interested in James Harden. I don't know exactly where they're at in that. Yeah, that's true. But if he ends up coming there, then, man, you better watch out for this team.
For sure.
It's gonna depend on what they have to give up for him, but nonetheless, even if they don't trade for him, I look at this team and think, serious.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that's the other thing with the James Harden thing is he would definitely elevate the team in some respects, but they would probably lose depth.
Yeah, exactly.
As a result.
That's the problem I would see with it.
I don't know. We'll see, though. Either way, I look for this team to be very competitive, regardless. Yeah. All right, next team, let's get into the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, last season, they did make the playoffs. I think they got in as a 7 or an 8, but Kyrie was hurt for a good portion of the season, and KD missed the entire season.
Yep.
Coming into this season, they don't exactly have that problem. They've got healthy people, at least right now, and I'm anxious to see what they do. I mean, we've been looking since last season. We've been looking forward to seeing how this pairing of KD and Kyrie would play, and what it would mean for the team. And we're about to find out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in my opinion, this Nets team, I mean, I keep on hearing stuff that they're trying to trade Spencer Dinwiddie, and I'm sitting here like, why? Why?
Yeah.
He's a valuable piece.
Yeah.
Why get rid of him when you're close to a championship, bring KD there? And, I mean, I just don't understand it, I feel like this team definitely stay put. I think they got the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, if everybody stays healthy, this is the team I have coming out of the Eastern Conference. I think they got a very, really nice roster. Re-signed Joe Harris. Joe Harris is a really good shooter. And I think I just like the roster they have,
Yeah.
I mean,
and let's not forget about who came over also. From the Quip joint, Landry Shamet is now a member of the Brooklyn Nets.
For him, I think him and Joe Harris, those guys are dead eyes. If they get hot, they don't miss. I mean,
yeah, and Tyler Johnson's a pretty decent player too, isn't he?
Yeah, he was good for the Heat. So
yeah,
I
wasn't
there.
Sure. Yeah, I thought it was him, but I couldn't remember.
I don't think he was on when they made the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
But
and then
nonetheless, he was also when he was on the Suns, and he was pretty solid for them as well.
Yeah, and then they got big man DeAndre Jordan in the middle, of course. He can still rim protect with the best of them. So I feel like they got all the pieces. I think the biggest thing is going to be how do KD and Kyrie play together, and can they stay healthy? And I also don't think this will be the last move they make. And they also have Jeff Green too. He's a little bit older now, but he has a lot, and I do mean a lot, of playoff experience. So I think he's going to help.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I mean, I don't look at this team and think...
And Wilson Chandler, too. I forgot about him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't look at this team and think we need to make moves. I really think they're already there. I think they got enough. But, and you got to also remember they still got Jared Allen.
Yeah, Jared Allen, yeah.
So it's... I just... If they trade Spencer Dinwiddie, I will not understand it whatsoever.
Well, it depends.
Unless they get the house for him.
I was going to say, it really depends what they get for him, because they could get some valuable assets for trading somebody like that. But the thing is that generally the way trading works is the team that's trying to trade somebody isn't the team that gets a ton. Yep. It's usually the team that is asking about somebody, because then you have to stoop to whatever level they will accept, as opposed to they have to do what they can to get to something you'd accept. Yeah, so if they're trying to trade Spencer Dinwiddie, as opposed to saying Spencer Dinwiddie is available to be traded for, you could see a sharp difference in what they get in return.
Yeah, I think it's more, Spencer Dinwiddie is available for trade. I don't know necessarily that they're trying to trade him because I think that would be a stupid move.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I mean, which version of that it is can be a big thing. Because if you're trying to trade somebody, you're at the mercy of what the market is. Whereas if you're opening somebody for trade, they have to work with you.
Yeah, and one more thing we forgot to mention when it comes to this team is, the new coaching staff.
Steve Nash,
Steve Nash, I think he could be potentially a really good fit for this team. Yep. I think he automatically is going to get respect from the players, and I don't think it's going to take much for him to get in the swing of things. He's not really going to have to do much with how much talent is already there anyways.
Yeah.
So, if you ask me, I mean, man, I could easily see this team winning the championship. If they were, they're going to be a difficult out for sure. But that's, again, barring injuries. Like we said in the last video, I mean, this is a prediction thing, looking at the roster at full health. By the time playoff time comes, there'll probably be new additions to these different teams, as well as there could be some injuries that could affect things. But we can't see that here before the season, in preseason. So, with that being said, we're just saying what we think looking at these rosters and stuff and the potential of these teams. And I think the Nets, they're another team, I'd say top 4 potentially. They could be top 4 for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if they were the 2 seed. Yeah,
I think that's probably their ceiling. I think 2 seed. I don't see them taking the number 1 seed overall, but I think they could get to 2.
I think honestly that the number 1 seed is probably going to be the Celtics, and we'll get into the Celtics here in a minute. I think what? Let's actually just
let's keep going with the way that we're going here. But we will get into the Celtics because we want to touch on them. Let's do the Toronto Raptors up next. What do you think about Toronto?
I don't view them quite in the same light as I did. Last year, I considered them serious playoff. I mean, I think they overachieved a little bit. Kawhi left, and they managed to still be, I think in the top 4 or 5.
Yeah, they were a 2 seed, I think.
Yeah, 2 seed. So, I don't know if I see them as that this year. I don't really think they got much better, honestly. I mean, if anything, they lost players. Serge Ibaka signed with the Clippers. Marc Gasol went to the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two core pieces that they're going to be missing. So, I don't know. I mean, this team, I don't know. I think they kind of, like I said, they're closer to, like I said with, who was it? The Spurs. Now I think I look at this team and think closer to rebuilding than they are winning a championship.
Okay.
In my personal opinion.
Yeah, for me, I think this team is really good. And I think, like he said, they maybe overachieved a little bit last year, but I think they have a dynamite coach, and they have just a bunch of guys. They're a good team. They're one of the better teams in the league. I feel like there's a lot of teams that have great players, but I feel like Toronto is one of the best teams in terms of playing team basketball.
Yeah,
I would say in terms of team basketball, they're even better than the Clippers were last year in terms of just overall playing as a team, as a cohesive unit, trying to win and not being hogging the ball and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're all on the same page, and I think that gets down to the coaching staff. I feel like the coach of this team does a great job of getting the most out of his players. And because of that, I don't see them going close to rebuilding. I see them.
It's not that I think they're going to rebuild. I just think I don't see them winning the championship.
Yeah, but I don't think that they're closer to rebuilding than winning a championship. I think they're. I don't see them really doing either. I don't see them getting worse. I don't see them getting way better, but I also don't see them getting way worse. I think they're going to be a staple in the East as long as this coach is here. I think they'll be a staple for years to come, and I think they'll be in the mix regularly.
What I think they should do, if you ask me, what I think they should do is sign Lowry. First of all, sign Lowry to an extension, let him retire a Raptor, and then rebuild around Siakam. Build around Siakam going forward because Siakam's a pretty nice player.
Yeah, for sure.
So, granted, that's why I say, Lowry's getting older, and that's the main reason I say that this team is getting closer to a rebuild.
Yeah. But one thing I will give them credit for, too, is, they drafted Siakam, and at the time that they drafted him, I feel like they did a great job. They've been a pretty perennial playoff team for a while. So it's not like they were getting him from the very depths of the draft. And so I feel like they do a good job of drafting on this team. And, in terms of where I see them, I don't think they'll be a 2 seed like they were last year.
I think they'll be 6-5 or...
Yeah, I was going to say 5 or 6. I would say 5 or 6. I say the Nets take their place. I don't think they're better than the 76ers this year. I don't think they'll be better than Boston. And I also don't think they'll be better than Miami, obviously. And I think Washington will be tough, but I think they will be better than Washington. I'm going to put them at 5 or 6. And then obviously Milwaukee as well. I think Milwaukee will be better. So I'd say the teams that I put ahead of them are basically the other teams in their division. 76ers, Nets, Celtics. So there's 3. And then I say Milwaukee. So that would put them at 5. And then I would say also Miami, which would put them at 6. So if I had to guess, I'm going to say they'll be a 6 seed this year. But that's not, that's still really good for them, especially considering the pieces they lost.
Yeah.
So that's great. I feel like I feel like the Raptors are getting better and better. And I think the coach is great. I really do. And then,
the coaching's not a problem.
Yeah.
But
and then they, like Fred VanVleet, Norman Powell. There's another young player that's got a lot of promise.
He's
Anunoby too. He played really big last year, and he was a rookie, wasn't he? Isn't OG Anunoby a rookie?
No, he's been in the league, I think, a couple years, but.
Let's just put it this way: he's not played more years than he has left.
Yeah, I honestly didn't think about Fred VanVleet. He's actually a younger player. So, you know what? I might actually change my tune about them being closer to a rebuild.
And also Aaron Baines, they picked him up over the offseason too.
Yeah, I didn't think about the fact that Fred VanVleet is there and actually signed a contract extension this offseason with them.
Yeah.
I might change my tune a little bit from what I said and say they are actually closer to a championship because I think Fred VanVleet's a really special player. And actually, the cool thing about him is actually he's an undrafted player, I'm pretty sure. So it's pretty nice to see a guy like him out there really showing his stuff and, becoming something worth going after. So, if if they manage to, and I think Siakam's actually on like a 5-year extension as well right now, right? There's something like that.
I don't think they've signed him yet. I don't think he's past his rookie deal yet, is he? Or maybe they did. Maybe they did. But regardless, I see him staying there.
Yeah,
so,
I don't.
But we'll see. I mean, regardless, I think the Raptors are set for the future to be pretty good. And I think if they can get some pieces in there, they're not far away from getting that. I just think they're closer to winning a championship, but I don't think that this roster will accomplish it. But I'm not saying that they couldn't add a couple pieces here and there and be there. Because, hell, they played, who was it, Boston last year to Game 7. I mean, they played the hell out of Boston last year. And Boston was really, really good. And they put up a fight like crazy. So, and a lot of the pieces they had last year are still here. I mean, yeah, they lost Ibaka and what's his name. But then they signed Aaron Baines. And they could also sign some other people as well. And they got Yuta Watanabe or whatever his name is.
Yuta Watanabe.
I think he's a good player, and could be good in the future. Watanabe.
Yeah,
I think he could be a good player moving forward. I just really think, and then they also have Stanley Johnson, he's the guy from the Pistons, right? Wasn't he on the Pistons?
Yeah, I think so.
He's a solid young player. So I think this team is not far, but they're not going to do it this year. I think they got some work to do, but we'll see what happens. I mean, if you ask me, this is a team that should be looking at James Harden. I think James Harden coming to the Raptors puts this team right next to, if not at the top of the East, overnight.
Yep.
Depending on what they have to give up. I mean, if they have to sell the farm, but if they don't have to give up a ton, I think James Harden on this team skyrockets them to number 1, or 2. I'd say number 1. But anyway, let's get on to the next team. We're going to talk about the New York Knicks. Kawhi Leonard. So, New York Knicks, this is going to be a pretty quick segment.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're not good. And I keep thinking that it might change. But then every time they get a decent player, a couple years later, that player's left the team or been traded.
I mean, not only that, but every year you hear about them in these free agency talks. Oh, they were in talks with Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. Look at where those two ended up. The Nets.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to notice a common trend where the Knicks players, the players that the Knicks are looking at, like star players, they're choosing the Nets. Mm-hmm. All the main players are going to the Nets.
They didn't get Jimmy Butler. They didn't get. There was talk about Russell Westbrook. They didn't get him.
Yeah, it's just sad.
And then when they have people, when they have gotten people like Carmelo, Amari Stoudemire, Kristaps, they've all pretty much gone away without really it amounting to wins. And so, I don't see that changing, especially in the division that they're in. They are miles
below everybody else.
Miles below even competing with any of the teams in this. Yeah. I think any one of these teams is a automatic 4-0 sweep. If the Knicks were to somehow hop into the 8th seed or something, they get swept by any other team in this.
Yeah,
I don't even give them a chance. So it's unfortunate because they're in the lottery every year, so you would think that they'd start getting better, but they just don't.
One thing I will say, though, is I do like R.J. Barrett, and I think he's going to be a nice player for them, considering they can keep him because, it's the same thing. I'm pretty sure Kristaps actually didn't leave there. He got traded.
Yeah, well, because he wanted out.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah,
I
and
just
then they draft wasn't it? Didn't they draft Obi Toppin
yeah.
this year?
Mhm.
So he could amount to a decent player. They've got a lot of young players and stuff, but in the past it hasn't really amounted to much. But hopefully they get it turned around because the Knicks have sucked for a long time. Unfortunately, I don't see that really changing, but it could. I mean,
Yeah.
you get enough
Ugh.
lottery picks, you would think that you would start to amass some talent at some point.
Yeah, I mean, and the Knicks being bad is just not good for basketball. I mean, it's the New York's such a big market. I mean,
Yeah,
for them to be the bottom of the league is just ridiculous
yeah,
to me. I
yeah.
mean, I mean, you can't tell me that players wouldn't want to go to New York.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if it's just the ownership or what it is, because
Yeah,
it's
well,
like,
it's the ownership is definitely not good in New York. And then they haven't had good GMs. The coaching has been a carousel, and therefore the players have been a carousel because nobody wants to stick around for an ownership group that doesn't seem to know what they're doing.
or
Sam
even go
Dolan
there.
or Jim Dolan,
No,
whatever.
yeah, I think
Jim
it's
Dolan, I think it is, that owns them. Just not good. And yeah, it's going to be rough for the Knicks this year and
if
probably
I'm
for years to come. They
yeah,
could be better than people are expecting, depending on how some of their draft picks play. But
yeah,
I'm expecting them to not be good.
yeah. I mean, if I'm them, I'm saying goodbye to Dolan, and I'm just doing a
Well,
straight out
they can't really say goodbye to
cleaning.
him. They can't really say goodbye to him because he owns the team.
Well, I
So they
mean, I'm
need
just saying,
he'd have to sell it.
if I'm him, I'm selling the team.
Yeah. Well,
Well, not. I mean, if I'm him, actually, I'm not selling the team. But
yeah. I was gonna say
if
if he
I'm
was
the
going to.
franchise, I'm wanting him to sell the team.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely agree with that. All right, let's get on to the final team here. The Boston Celtics, the team that he was talking about earlier. We wanted to finish off with Boston just because we're going in a specific order, at least for some of these videos.
Yeah.
So we're going to finish off with Boston in this video.
Yeah.
And, obviously we're finishing off with a bang. This team was a game out, a game 7 basically away from the NBA Finals last year.
I think they only got better.
I thought they were going to the NBA Finals last year, and yeah, for the most part I agree. They got
I
they
think
they
Tristan Thompson.
Tristan Thompson is going to be a big player for this team, and then I think it's good too that they got rid of Hayward's contract, and I feel like just that alone really opens the door for this team because that guy, let's just be honest, was kind of a disappointment during his time in Boston. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of that had to do with his injury issues, but still, that's a big Hawken contract
Yeah,
taking up space.
and also, I mean, you gotta also look at it. I mean, they brought in Jeff Teague, and he's in my opinion, actually underrated point guard, and he can be a really solid backup for this group.
The only
Behind Kemba.
The only thing that kind of worries me is like they got a lot of really solid backups. I mean, they got what's this nuts, right? Jaylen Brown, isn't he a guard?
Yeah, but he's not a backup.
Yeah, but he's the 2.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
starts.
but then
But,
and then you got Kemba, and then you got Jeff Teague. Yeah, so yeah, you're right. You're right. I was thinking there was somebody else, but never mind.
But nonetheless, I really, if I had to choose a team that I think could be the number 1 seed, I definitely have Boston up there in the picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you'd be foolish not to. I mean, they're solid. And then not only that, but they re-signed. They lost what's his nuts, Terry Rozier, but they haven't lost a step. If anything, they got better. And Jaylen Brown stepped up, and I feel like getting rid of Kyrie was maybe the best thing for them because they've played like an excellent team with Kemba. I feel like Kemba's been a great fit.
Yeah, I mean, and that just kind of makes you think, like, was it really the Celtics or was it just Kyrie that was causing all the problems? Because I feel like, I mean, especially even when they had the Terry Rozier, and Kyrie wasn't there for the playoffs, what did they do? Eastern Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's like...
And then they re-signed Jason Tatum, right? They got him a contract this offseason. Sure. And then they also got Marcus Smart, of course. They just got players all over. And then, again, bringing in Tristan Thompson. I mean, they got a really good player there in Tristan Thompson. And then Daniel Tice, too. He played huge last season in the playoffs.
I'm a huge fan of Daniel Tice. I think he is an underrated center, and I think other teams definitely, I mean, if he, I don't know exactly what his contract situation is, but other teams, I mean, if you're close to a championship, definitely look at that guy.
Yeah.
If you're lacking in the center position, that guy is gonna give you all you want.
Well, and you think about it too, because I mean, before they lost Kelly Olynyk, and everybody was like, "Oh boy, here we go." But now you got that Tice guy that stepped up, as well as now you got Tristan Thompson, who's going to play that position great, and now you got Tice coming off the bench still, so you're not pushing him in there too early. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Celtics are going to be at their usual. Just great.
The
Celtics never go backwards, it seems like.
I think, like I said, I mean, I actually did say that I think they're going to be the number one seed. Mm-hmm. And I stick by that. I look at this team and think they didn't get worse, they got better.
Yeah. I honestly think, I would take them to be the number one seed this year.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, a lot of these teams, especially in this division, Brooklyn, 76ers, we'll see how those teams look out. I don't think Toronto is going to be a number one seed by any means, but, they've been known to surprise some people, especially last year.
And not only that, but, I mean, in some respects, I've been feeling this way about Boston for a while now, and at the last couple of years, it's been Milwaukee. So, I mean, I feel like Boston has if I'm looking at the roster of Boston and the roster of Milwaukee, I'd take Boston all day long. But in the regular season, at least, that hasn't been the case. Milwaukee's been number one basically the last couple of years.
And that's the kind of sad thing about Milwaukee, though, is you got to figure, their path through the playoffs is going to be a little bit easier because they're playing the 8th seed every season. It's kind of ridiculous to me that they haven't seemed to be able to really go anywhere. I mean, they made the Eastern Conference Finals a couple years ago, but last year they went into the second round and got 4-0'd, I think 4-0'd against 4-1,
but still
4-1 against the Heat.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and the changes and the things that they did over the offseason, I mean, we'll see, but I don't know if they got that much better. But anyway, we're not talking about the Bucks in this video anyway. So, Celtics are going to be solid. Last thing, of these teams, how many you think are making it, and who's going to come away with the best record? I know you said Celtics probably.
I got Celtics. Celtics best record, and then I got all 4 out of the 5 in the playoffs.
Yeah. I completely agree. Celtics, Nets, 76ers, Raptors, all going to be in the playoffs. Honestly, I could see that order coming out in many different ways in terms of where they are in the ranking. The
like
seeds.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of where they'll be seed-wise, I could see it going many different directions. But this is a great division, and there's a lot of competitive teams, and I don't see any of I don't see any of those four taking a step back anytime soon.
No, I would agree.
I think they're all going to be really tough, barring injuries. I mean, again, like we said. So,
yeah.
With that being said, if you guys like the content, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. If you haven't checked out our Southwest Division one, where we talk about the Rockets and Spurs and Mavericks and teams like that, make sure you go check that out. And stay tuned for tomorrow's video, where we get into the Eastern Central Division. This one was the Atlantic, so make sure you check this out. And like I said, check out the rest of the videos in the series. If you like the content, like button, subscribe. You guys know the deal. With that being said, Bryson,
Bennett.
see you guys in the next video.